Hi friends, in this session we will see how to create Docker images, Docker containers and all. So in our previous video we have already installed Docker. We have seen what the Docker is. We have seen how to install the Docker in our server and all. So in this video I am going to show you how can we create container or images. So the first thing is that you should verify that Docker is existing in your system or not. So docker-v is the command to check if Docker is there or not. So see, as Docker is there, so the first thing is done. Now the second step is to check the Docker images. Already what is images and what is a container I have explained. So now here I will show how can we pull the images. In the later section we will see how can we create our own images and how can we run the containers. So in this video I will simply show you how can you pull the images from your Docker Hub if the images doesn't exist in your server, and how can you run the containers from that images. So right now if I am running Docker images, I am not getting any of the images has been existing in my server. If I will give Docker ps, I will not get any of the containers in my server. Either you can look with the Docker ps or Docker containers. So with both the commands is same. Actually previously people used to use Docker ps, but now with the new versions Docker is suggesting us to use the container along with the ps. As I have shown you in the Docker -help section, some management command is there. Docker is suggesting that if you are using ps command for the container, then why you are running simply Docker ps? It will be better if you will run Docker container ps, so that it will be easy for the end user to understand that ps command is used for the container purpose. So it is for the easiness for the end user to understand the Docker. Okay. So both the commands is same. There is no difference between both these command. So either you can use Docker ps or Docker container ps. Now Docker ps-a. What this command does? See, Docker ps will give you the list of the container which is in the running state, but it will not show you the list of the container which is either in the stopped state or in the pause state. But Docker ps-a will give you the list of all the containers. It will give you the list of entire containers either in the running state or stopped state, or it may be hanged, or whatever the state it will be. It will show you in all the containers which is present in your server. So now we will see how can we create the container in that part. It will be easy for you to understand this difference between Docker ps and Docker ps-a. And the next part is I explained you the default path for this Docker. Okay, here you will be able to find Docker. This is the default path of the Docker. So here you will see many things like containers will be there, images will be there. So this network and all these things I will discuss later on. Now I will discuss in this video only containers and images. So if I will go inside the containers, nothing is there. Suppose I will go inside the images, nothing is there. You can view that I am inside the container, I am inside the images. You can use the pwd command as well, which will give you present working directory. Okay. So see, inside the container nothing was there, but inside the images overlay is there. Now what this overlay is and what that overlay does, I will explain you in the upcoming session, because the layer DB plays an important role over here. Now inside the layer DB nothing I have right now. I have nothing right now inside the layer DB as well as inside the containers. Okay. So let me go to my root directory and clear this screen. Okay. So now what I will do, I will create a image. I will pull the images from the Docker. Okay. So suppose I am pulling a container of Ubuntu, docker pull. This is the command to pull any images. If you are going to pull the images, you have to run this command, docker pull and the whatever the image name. Now I am going to show you Ubuntu image. That's why I am pulling the Ubuntu image. Now what it will do, as I had discussed earlier in my earlier video, what this flow will be. First the docker will find is there a Ubuntu image existing in the server. If the existing images will be there, it will do nothing. If no images will be there, what it will do, it will redirect to the Docker Hub, and from the Docker Hub it will find the latest and official image of Ubuntu. Note these 2 points. The first will be official image and the second will be latest, until and unless you define any tags over here. So I am just pulling the Ubuntu image, so run, see what will happen. First message you got, using default tag latest, means it is pulling the latest image of Ubuntu. The second message what you got, pulling the images from the library of Ubuntu. So see, they have given this 3 things and the pull is complete. Okay. Now you run the command, same command which we ran earlier, docker images. See, now you are getting Docker images. In your Docker images, you are getting Ubuntu. As we have pulled the images of Ubuntu, you are able to see this image over here. So previously we were not able to look this image, no images was there. But right now if you will see, one images is there named Ubuntu. Notice the important thing is size. Do you know what is the ISO image size of the Ubuntu? It will be more than 1.5 GB or 2 GB. But if you will look over here, this Ubuntu image size is only 69 MB. So now the point comes, why this much less size is there? Just not this point, I will discuss this point in this video only, but after some time. So the important thing is Ubuntu image has been pulled and the size is only 69 MB, and you see the tag is the latest one. If I will not mention any tag over here, it will just pull the latest tag only. By default, it will go to the docker.io registry and repository, and from that repository it will pull the latest image only. So this, I think this concept is clear. Now if I will run the command docker info, see in the docker info what the message we are getting. Still there is 0 container, as we haven't created any containers right now. Now what is containers and what is images, I have already explained earlier, but however I am saying once more, images is the image which is in the static state. Now this Ubuntu image in the static state, it is just present in my Docker engine, but I haven't run this Docker images. Now if I will run this Ubuntu images, suddenly it will go into the run state or dynamic state, and that run state is called as container. So once I will run this image, I will show you that the container count will be default. So right now we haven't created any of the container, so we are looking that container is 0, but the images is 1. 1 images is present in your Docker engine. So for the Docker engine, I think this is sufficient. One more thing. Are you able to see any difference? Previously, when we went into the LayerDB directory, we got empty, nothing was there. But now we are getting 2 folder has been created. One is SHA256 and the second is TMP. Now let me go inside this SHA256. Oh, I have just okay, no, I haven't deleted. Okay, I have deleted this, cleared the screen. Okay. So actually, what I want you to notice over here that these all are the layer. These are the layer, which means when we pull the images of Ubuntu has been divided into the 3 layer, and this 3 layer has been downloaded. Okay, all these layer concept I will explain in the next video. I just want to show you over here that when I pulled the images, one SHA-256 folder has been created, and inside that we are able to view layer. Okay, now let me give a small concept of this layer. See, already I am having Docker images in my server. Okay, is it clear to you? Now what I will do, again I will run the same command, docker pull ubuntu. Means there is no difference between this Ubuntu image and this Ubuntu image. So what do you think? Will Docker pull it again? Will Docker pull again in new Ubuntu images, or it does nothing? So let's see. Using default image latest pulling. Now see what the message you got. Digest, when if you have noticed previously, there was some different message in the digest, but this time something different message is there. Okay, now what this different message is? Let me run Docker images. No extra images there. And what the status you are getting? Image is up to date for Ubuntu. Means they are saying that Mr. already you are having Ubuntu image in your Docker engine, so you can utilize that image. No need to download or pull the same image multiple times. You can use the same image multiple number of times. Okay, clear? So image concept is clear now. Now let me move to the container part. As you can see, no container is there. So as of now, no container is there. So our main other task is we have to create a container. So as I have pulled the images of Ubuntu, so what I am going to show now that I will run the same images. So there is a command to run the container, docker run -itd Ubuntu. So see, run command is there for the container, docker run -itd. Now what the itd means? See, I is for the interactive mode. What is interactive mode? Okay, I will explain interactive mode later. T is for TTY or terminal. Means it says that if I will pull the Docker, run the Ubuntu container, it should be interactive. Means interactive means user should be able to interact with that container. Means user should be able to go inside that container. And T means TTY, means terminal. User should be able to open the terminal for this Ubuntu. And D means daemon, means this Ubuntu should run as a daemon or in the background. D is simply for the daemon or is a background process. Okay, so I will show you the difference between giving the D and not giving the D. But as for the first command, let me run this as a docker run -itd Ubuntu. See what it will do. Immediately it has created a container. Immediately a container came up. Docker PS. Now you are able to see a container. This container is similar to this server. Means what I can say that you can imagine this container as a Ubuntu operating system. Whatever the Ubuntu operating system you looks, this container is the same thing. you have a separate container, you will be having separate container ID for unique separate container ID. If you create 1000 container, all the 1000 containers will be having a unique separate ID. It will not, no container ID, no two containers ID can be same. All the containers ID will be different. And this images what it says, that the container which you have created with this container ID has the image of the Ubuntu. Means Ubuntu operating system is running. And by default, this bin and base command is there. See, if when I ran the Ubuntu, I haven't given any command. After this, there is an option to give any command, but I haven't given any command. So what it is on, that by default, the Ubuntu operating system has run this bin and base command. Now how this run and why this run, all this you will come to understand when we will create our own images in the upcoming videos. So as of now, understand that by default Ubuntu has run this default command bin base, and this is showing the time that when this container was created. As I ran it immediately, it is showing 10 seconds ago. Let me run the same command. Now you are looking about a minute ago, means already 1 minute is over when we created this container, and this is showing the status. It is showing that the container is up from last 10 seconds, and here it is showing the container is up from a minute. Now the ports and all these all commands I will explain you. Ports means this image is running on which port. Okay, so as this is the operating system, so this doesn't require any port, but I will show you the ports concept when I will run the images of Tomcat or Nginx or any other packages. Okay, so as of now, ignore these ports. Now comes to the names part. See, this names doesn't means that, see, what is the concept? I pulled these Docker images from the Docker Hub. Okay, now if you will go to the Docker Hub, so you will find many users name will be there. Whenever you will push any images, so with your name it should go over there. Okay, so see, Ubuntu core, Ubuntu and images, Ubuntu core, these all are the names. Snappy Jenkins, Ubuntu images, so Ubuntu Jade, all these are the random names with the users. The users have created their account in the Docker Hub with these names. So the second, what many people think that the names comes from there. No, this is the random name. This is the random names which Docker pulls from the Docker Hub. So it is not the name of any persons who have created the account in the Docker Hub. This is the random name. Suppose I will create again, I will run one more container for the same. So I will run the same command. Again I am running one more container, means I am creating one more server of Ubuntu. So see, one more container has been created, and now see, the name is different. You should say that if I ran the same command, the name should be same. No, Docker always picks up the random name from the Docker Hub. So it can be any name. If you will run thousands of times, thousands different names can be there. It just pulls any random name from the Docker Hub. So I think your concept is clear what this container ID is, name is, command and all. Now let me go inside any container. Okay. So 1 second. Now I am going to show you difference between Docker PS and Docker PS-A. So what I had shown you that I have created two containers of the Ubuntu image. Okay. So see, with the Docker PS I am able to see both the containers. But when I stopped the one of the containers, suppose I have stopped this first container, So what after that, when I am given docker ps, I am getting the list of only running container. I am not getting the list of the containers which has been installed. Already this container is there in this operating system, in this docker engine, but I am not able to see. So there comes the docker ps-a command. Docker ps-a will give you the list of all the containers which is there in your docker images, docker engine. So see, what the message you are getting here, exited means the docker container has been stopped 48 seconds ago. Now it is not in the running status. Okay. So again I can bring it up. Docker start. So already it came up. Now again if I will give docker ps only, now you can see docker container is running. It is in the running state and it came up 2 seconds ago. So I think you got the difference between docker ps and docker ps-a. Clear? Now let me show now let me show you how can you go inside any of the container. See what the container is. Container is not any container. You can just consider is as a server or as a similar as the operating system. This I have created the container of Ubuntu, then you can consider it as similar as Ubuntu operating system. Okay. So now I will go inside this container, but before that again I want to remind you this container, this Ubuntu image size was only 69 MB, but if you will go with the real ISO image of the Ubuntu, the real ISO image of the Ubuntu size will be more than 2 GB. So now I will go to explain you that why this difference occurred and why it is Docker is so faster. So to go inside any container, the command is exec, docker exec -it, then the name of the container along with any command. Yeah, see. To run any of the docker command, the first mandatory part is the docker. Everywhere you have to use the docker. Without docker, you can't run any of the docker command. For this you got what is docker? Exec. Exec is the keyword to go into the any of the container. Exec means execute. Means you are giving instruction to the docker that please execute this container. Now why I given -it? Already I said I means interactive mode. Means you are saying to the docker that please run this container in the interactive mode so that I will be able to visualize it. And T means TTY means terminal. You please give me the access to this server or to this container in the terminal so that I can do anything whatever I want. Okay, let me add D as well. D means after I move out of this container should run in the background as well. However, D is optional over here, but let me give you a practice with the D. Always try to do all the practices with the D because it is considered as the best practice. Because if you will come out of the container and suppose if you don't have given D, then what will happen? Immediately the container will go down. Because what happened that it said that the process is not running, no process is running in the background. So as of now, I will suggest that go with the D. However, D is optional in this case, in this scenario. I can go without D as well, but I am moving with D so that you can follow the best practice. And now I have given the container ID. After that, you have to run any of the command. Either you can run bin bash or direct bash or any of the other commands what you want to run. So see what happened. Have any one of you noticed? I executed the command. Everything, I haven't got any error, but I am not inside this container. If you should be inside if you might have went inside the container, then here the IP address would have been changed with this container ID, but nothing has been changed. Here I ran the container, docker container execute, I ran the command, but still neither I got any error, nothing I got. And however, I am not inside the container as well. Then what is the error and why did this happen? See, previously I said you about the D. What is D? D means daemon or background process. What is D instructing over here, Mr. This container ID? You just execute in the background. User don't want to go into the interactive mode. So here I have to remove this D. Okay. So after removing this D, when I will run the same command, now you can notice the difference over here. This IP has been changed with the container ID. Now I am inside this container ID. Okay. Now one thing which I said earlier, that the Docker image size is different. If you will go with the real size of the Ubuntu image, you will get around 2 GB of size. But here only 69 MB of size is there. And why is it so? So let me show you some command. Okay. vi any name game and as you will say this is the Ubuntu, so no command is there. This is the editor command. Okay, so what is here it is showing that no command is there. Now here comes the real concept. See what happens when you will go with the ISO image of the operating system. That ISO contains all the packages which is required for the operating system. That either that will be useful for your work or not, but it will contain all the packages which includes the operating system. So if you will run the same vi amit or vi any command in the Ubuntu operating system, you will not get this error, command not found. You will get, obviously you will get this command, but why you are not getting here? See, now what the Docker says that any images should contain the minimal required package. What the minimal required package is? See, what Docker says that Ubuntu already we have pulled the Ubuntu images. Now vi command is not, or nano command is not mandatory for an operating system. Not every users want to edit some file inside the operating system. So if a user require that package, if a user need that package, then they can install that package as per the requirement. But Docker suggests only include the package which is the mandatory or which is the required package for any of the images. So suppose if I will give ls command, so I am not getting the error. Why? Because the ls command is mandatory. If I will run any of the images, I need to view that how many packages there, how many files is there. So ls command they have included, but they haven't included vi or nano command because that is not mandatory. But they said that if a user need that command, they can just use that. They can use that package. But see, one more thing I want to say is this is the new operating system. First I need to update my package. So I am just updating my packages over here. So this is done. Let me clear my screen. So are you able to view? Now I am running the same command. I am not getting the error, but previously I was getting the error. Are you able to view it? So now let me come out of this. I think my server got stuck, so For now I am just pausing my video.